All right, so if you turn in your books, we are looking at page 34, where basically the school is looking to buy some calculators for the math department. So the vendor has given us 3 different types of calculators that we can buy. So the first one is a fraction calculator. They want us to buy 120 for $20. The second one is a scientific, $240 for $15. Graphing calculator, that's $800 for 10 of them. All right, and you can see that we basically made a table where we filled in some of those initial values. The 120, the 240, and the 800. So what we're going to do, if you notice, this table looks very familiar. It looks almost like the same table that we did when we was working with the chimps. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to fill in the table. Now, how do we do that? So let's start with the fraction calculator. That's $120 for 20. So how do we work this table? How do we figure out what is the cost for 1? If you remember, we talked about unit rates earlier in the getting ready section. So if it cost us $120 for 20 calculators, what we want to know, and this is calculators, this is price. We want to know how much is 1 calculator. What is the price of that? Now, what we could do is we could say the price for 1 is our X. Now, this is a ratio, but if you notice, this also looks like a proportion, which we covered in our book, Stretching and Shrinking. All right? Now, we're going to go over how to solve proportions later on. But, how do I go from 20 calculators to 1 calculator? If you remember how we work these, we divide by 20. So, when we do that, that will get us down to 1 calculator. So, if we do 120, and we'll pull up our calculator, 120 divided by $20 equals 6. So, X equals $6. So now we can fill in the table. So, for fraction, for 1, it's $6. To check that, let's just do like we did with the chimps, 6 times 20. That's 120, so that does work. Okay, so now we can fill in the rest for the fraction price. But what I want you to do right now is I want you to fill it in for scientific, what is the price of 1, and the graphing, what is the price of 1. So why don't you guys go ahead and fill in the price for 1 for a scientific price and for a graphing price. And then we'll go over what you got for an answer. Okay, so now that you guys had a chance to do that, let's look to see how you guys did it. For the scientific, if you do 240 divided by 15, we'll pull out a calculator. You guys can check to see if you guys got this right. That equals 16. Now, remember, that is the price for 1. So, for the scientific, it's $16 for 1. What about for the graphing calculator? We're going to do $800 divided by 10. You can just do that. And so, therefore, it's $80. Okay, great. So now we have the base of our table done, where we have the price for just 1 of each of the calculators. And now we can fill in the rest of the table, and we'll look at that in a few minutes.